We've been trying to build a Saxmundham Health one-stop shop since just after the NHS plan of 2000. At the time, integrating health and social care was novel, but now it's normal and it's common sense. Over the last 25 years, since the initial rejection by the NHS, we've not stood still. It's now become more accepted that there are wider determinants of health, and we need to be much more assertive in addressing health inequalities. These social determinants are the non-medical, social, economic, and environmental factors that profoundly influence physical and mental health. They are the conditions in which we are born, grow, live, work, and age, and generally have a greater impact on overall health and life expectancy than clinical care or genetics. People from deprived areas in particular have more illness and die younger. We really need to try and do something about that.
Here you can see a government map of the confusing lower layer super output area of deprivation. This comes from the National Office of Statistics and is an official measure of deprivation. From least to most deprived goes from dark blue, light blue, yellow, brown and red in 20% increments. You can see that a large part of this rural area in Suffolk is brown, meaning it lies within the second worst area of deprivation. What does all this really mean? It means that social care, housing, employment advice, family support, along with debt advice and food banks should be more accessible and ideally at one location. Obviously, it's not possible to do this everywhere, but particularly in rural areas like Suffolk, the authorities need to think hard about accessibility and transport links before deciding where to invest. This map shows just how well located and well served Saxmundham is within the wider Suffolk community. After all, this is why they built an ambulance station here in the 1950s and why there's a limited out-of-hours service here at weekends. So what is the plan? Many will remember this site we had at North Entrance by the Sports Club. The NHS are still worried about the small risk of flooding at the northeast corner by the road, which has slightly worsened over the last couple of decades, and so we've had to give that up. Mercifully, we now have an even better site in Seaman Avenue, where the current ambulance station is, with Suffolk County Council land behind, so it's all held within the public estate. Let me explain why it's better. We're using a drone to highlight the local geography to try to explain why this is such a good location. The site is marked out in red with the current ambulance station in the foreground and the county council land behind. You can see that the new Send school is really close and on a massive site. On the other side of the road are the fire station and police. This is really a blue light area. From higher up, you can see marked out the 850 house pigeon development due to start soon, and you can see the dense areas of social housing nearby, including the ex-US Air Force housing. The A12 and railway line and station are also marked out. So the new site is close to the A12 bypass and the railway station. Here you can actually see an ambulance leaving the station heading for the A12, in a leisurely manner, as this is not a blue light call. As already appreciated, we are halfway between Ipswich Hospital and James Paget Hospital and on the A12 trunk road that connects them. This is a natural location for a neighbourhood hub, which will provide local care, but hopefully also out-of-hours care, just as we do in a limited way now. We would save a lot of unnecessary hospital attendances and admissions if we had extended opening into the evenings and weekends. If we're going to reduce A&E and urgent treatment centre attendances, then we need to offer local solutions. We propose that we offer 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 6 days a week, and having the new ambulance station here should encourage patients to attend, as they will recognise that this is an emergency centre with fire and police opposite. You can now see the ambulance approaching the Saxmundham intersection of the A12. Turn left for Ipswich Hospital, 20 miles, and right for James Paget Hospital, 30 miles. What else do we plan to put in the one-stop shop? We plan to operate numerous hospital consultant clinics, We used to run 6 specialties in the 1990s, and it makes good sense for the consultant to drive to us and see 15 or 20 patients from this rural area, rather than 15 to 20 patients from hereabouts travel to Ipswich Hospital. We would also like to be able to provide scans and other tests here from a new community diagnostic centre. The Health Authority currently has these in Newmarket and Clacton, but we feel we could justify a smaller one in Saxmundham. We would love this to be built at the bottom of the site where the Seaman House Day Centre used to be. When will it happen? When we had the last flood at our present site in 2023, we had poo coming up the sinks. As you can imagine, this is a significant health hazard and makes our existing building even less suitable for healthcare. We believe we are now top of the ICB priority list for a new build, and this business case is also aided by those 850 further new houses from the developer Pigeon expected in Saxmundham. Even now we use a porter cabin and a garden shed, so something needs to be done quickly. The NHS need to crack on with the planning and delivery of a new building to expand the traditional GP offering, but we are also campaigning strongly for more space to address these wider determinants of health. The current neighbourhood plan proposals fit that project perfectly for out of hours and other extra services along with the community diagnostic centre. We want the new building to be the welcoming heart of your community. We plan to have a cafe, a nursery, a dentist and other much needed services that will work alongside social care, family support, voluntary agencies, housing, employment and general practice. We will need to find money outside the NHS and social care, and we'll be looking to National Grid, Sizewell, Pigeon and others to contribute. If we had to have 2 converter stations, Sizewell Chaos and 850 new houses, then at least we deserve a special Saxmundham Health designed to comprehensively support your community. Why would anyone think we could deliver this? Well, practically in the 1990s we used to run consultant clinics in dermatology, rheumatology, ENT, obstetrics, gynecology and psychiatry, and we could do the same and so much more in future. Nearby on the train going north we have Darsham, Halesworth, Brampton and Beccles, while going south we have Wickermarket, Melton and Woodbridge. Saxmundham is so much more convenient than local hospitals at Ipswich or Galston. Why would anyone believe we could carry forward this extended wider determinants agenda? Well, we've had a long-term interest in broader health and well-being beyond traditional general practice. Here are some examples. The veg table outside the surgery to encourage healthy food choices. The Slimming Group, learning about low-carb and time-restricted eating for weight loss and diabetes reversal. The Film Club, now in its 3rd year to address social isolation. Practical healthy cooking with the Brownies and a pair of local twins from a nearby village school. CPR training in the primary school. Healthy snacks at school and the reopened Dementia Club at Albury Community Hospital, reaching out beyond the PCN to the wider INT. Surgery Apprentice Project to provide limited work experience with local businesses to get young people, particularly with anxiety and depression, out of their bedrooms. Barbers of Saxmundham Project to tackle male suicide and obesity.
We need you to help us make the case. In 2004, we had 512 letters of support sent to the council when we were struggling with planning on the old site. This time, planning looks simpler, but we will need public support to secure funding from National Grid, Sizewell and the developer Pigeon to build a sizable element of the new build that is not traditional general practice. We waited a quarter of a century, but now we have the potential for a national exemplar of a neighbourhood hub. That would be fantastic for you, but also for the wider rural Suffolk population. And at a time when general practice is struggling to recruit, we have 3 new partners who are keen and excited about delivering this agenda for the future. Thank you.